It took almost 40 years for Oksana to confess her deepest secrets to her husband. Jason had been thinking about the past a lot lately, and one day he wasn't in the best mood because of something he thought he understood. But he was not sure that his logic was not flawed, and he was not at all sure that he was right in his conclusions. Jason thought about everything they'd done over the years, the different jobs Anna had done during that time. They switched roles when Jason told Anya about his deteriorating vision. Anna asked him to wait another year until she found a full-time job and they could save as much money as possible. Jason contacted social services after resigning as a teacher and applied for SSI. He tried to learn a new profession, but he didn't succeed very well. Finally, someone suggested he apply for total disability. He contacted social services again and was finally approved for disability benefits. Jason took over all child care and household chores. He had cleaned up after school before, since Oksana's main priority was the children. Jason actually enjoyed this change of roles as it freed him from the stress of teaching and all the paperwork that comes with it. Anna worked several part-time jobs while Jason taught. She sold Tupperware products for about 18 months, but was unable to reach manager level. She then took up Jing and really enjoyed it. She had a musical and dance background, which helped her in her work. She got a regular gig at a bar half an hour away from home. According to Anna, this was every Wednesday from 8 to 11:30 p.m. She worked there every week and Jason didn't pay much attention to it. She has also worked at weddings, family reunions, bachelorette parties, and corporate parties. One Saturday night, Anna came home very excited and Jason asked what was wrong. This particular holiday was a family affair and she had to organize a wild lingerie competition for the men in the group. Only 3 men walked onto the low stage when Anna announced the start of the competition. To her surprise, all the guys dropped their pants. They had their backs to the audience, but Anna stood in front of them, facing the audience. One of the guys was getting horny and Anna said she got a little horny when she saw his length. After the competition, this guy tried to get Anna to go with him after the party 3 times, and when she got home, she needed some attention from Jason. Oksana came home excited from the very beginning. She worked a double event while completing her training. The DJ was friendly and very encouraging. He complimented her on her appearance and how well she moved behind the controls. At the second event, another DJ from the company stopped by to say hi as he was working in another room in the building. After a short conversation, he invited Anya to go for a drink after work, but she refused. When he left, her coach said, "You know what he wants, don't you?" Anna replied that she knew very well. She admitted that she invited her coach to go out for a drink after the second show, but he refused. Another event was a Christmas party for a group of nurses from a local hospital. A male dancer appeared at the party, and Anya had to provide music for his performance. He then walked among the guests wearing only tiny bikini bottoms with a big mound. Anna was also very excited that evening. Jason noticed that Oksana rarely came home from working at the bar on Wednesdays in a state of agitation. He mentioned it once, and she replied that the place is pretty quiet, and there were usually couples there. Oksana switched to women's clothing when she got a full-time job. She was doing well with her job, which was good. Over time, Anna changed jobs and switched from soft goods to hard goods, since the salary of a store manager was higher. Once Anna switched to hard goods, she began working more hours. She took Jason to the store on her day off, and he met her assistant, Karen. She was younger, blonde, outgoing, and flirty. She talked to Jason a lot, and Anna brought him there several times over the next few months. On the way home after stopping at the store, Anna said, "Karen asked what size yours was, and I told her it was a medium. She asked if we would like to swap partners with her and her boyfriend for one night." Jason was shocked. Anna had never been interested in such things in any way. She hadn't even watched an adult film, although Jason didn't often have access to such films himself. She thought it was disgusting and told Jason she didn't want to see, hear, or talk about it at all. And now she was talking about the exchange with Karen and her boyfriend. He said, "No, I'm not interested in that. She's fun to tease, but that's the furthest I'll go, Anna. Okay, I just thought it was worth mentioning. She mentioned it a couple of times. No, Anna, I don't want to hear about it. But the movies you watch. Movies are entertainment, staged and unrealistic, and I don't even want to think about it. This could be bad for our relationship. Okay, darling, I didn't think you were interested. They didn't talk about it anymore. Jason moved away from pornography before the advent of the internet, and then watched more photos than videos. Things have slowed down for Jason and Anna in many ways. Now they were both at home. Anna retired and was involved in activities at the local Y and adult center. Jason often reads stories online on an adult site and listened to audiobooks as his vision deteriorated further. This was the reason for his retrospection. Their sex life had languished over the past 5 years, but picked up briefly after Anna's retirement, then dropped off again. Now they have not had any sexual contact for the past 6 months. Jason was warned by his older friends that this would happen. One man said, like a light switch, it was there and then it's gone. One day, Anna came home from the adult center and Jason was sitting at the table, deep in thought, and Anna asked, Jay, what are you thinking about? He didn't answer, so she lightly touched his shoulder and asked again. Oh, I've been thinking about our lives over the years. You know, the past. What's gotten into you? I think we're getting older, and I wonder if we could have done something differently, and if it would have been better. Sounds like an exercise in futility, dear. I guess. Jason stood up and walked to the computer room, which had also served as his bedroom since Anna had been complaining about his snoring for the past few years. He moved into the spare bedroom so she could sleep better. Jason didn't fully remember that conversation after the store visit, but he did remember that Anna said that she told Karen that he had an average-sized manhood. Now, more than 30 years later, he wondered how she knew he was average. She was a virgin when they first made love, about 2 weeks after her 18th birthday. He only had experience with one other girl in his freshman year, and that was while he was high. 2 years later, he met Anna. She wandered around the student center with a nose of food at an unusual time. Around 2 p.m., the place was occupied by visiting students, some of them sitting and chatting. There was an empty seat at the table where Jason was sitting. 4 girls from the sorority were sitting next to him, and Jason said something to the girl across from him, and she turned and gestured for Anna to come over. Anna walked over and Emma, a petite girl with dark hair and a pixie haircut, said, Hi, I'm Pam, and if you want this seat next to him, you can take it. Anna looked at Pam's smiling face and the other girls, and then at Jason. Everyone was smiling, and Pam said, Hey, it's up to you, but there are a lot of people here, and we don't bite. Sit down, eat, and continue on your way if you want. Jason, give her the end seat, moved to Emma. Anna watched as Jason moved one seat, and Anna shrugged, saying, Thanks, my name is Oksana, but I prefer Anna. It's very crowded right now, and this is my first chance to eat since breakfast at 7:30. Emma introduced Darlene and Katie and said, We're a sisterhood, well, except for him. He's our mascot, with a smile. We're a social sisterhood, but we're not like the Greeks on the other side of the center. We try to help people and have a good time in silence. Well, I live on campus, and like I said, I prefer Anna, but this is the first chance to eat on Tuesday, so I'm getting a voucher because the cafeteria is closed right now. Pam smiled at Anna. Well, if you get stuck without a seat and we have an open chair, you can always join us. Emma and Darlene also confirmed this. Anna said, Thank you, that's very nice of you. She ate, thanked everyone, and left for her next lesson. Anna returned Friday afternoon and asked to join the table, and several of the girls nodded in agreement. Jason was there too, and Anna, sitting across from him, asked, Do you even go to class? I saw you here on Tuesday. Jason laughed. Well, do you go to class? You were here on Tuesday too. Oh yeah, I guess. She ate, thanked everyone, and said goodbye. The next week, on Tuesday, Anna showed up again, and this time Jason recognized her last name as Brown, and after Anna left, he looked it up in the school directory. That same evening, he called the floor phone in her dormitory and asked to speak with her. They talked for a few minutes and Jason asked her to a basketball game. Anna refused, but said that she would like to have tea at the student center. She went downstairs and they went to have tea. Ain was studying to be a music educator, so she had a lot of one-credit instrument classes that took up a lot of time, and she had to attend student concerts every Wednesday afternoon. They had a good time and Anna invited Jason to attend the concert the next day. She told him where they could meet and they went together. For a month, they spent a lot of free time together. By the end of October, Anna was diagnosed with mononucleosis and had to spend 3 weeks in bed. She had to return home, which set her back for a year, since the course of study was strictly regulated. Jason talked to the girls in the sorority and then to all of Anna's professors and was able to give her notes and assignments twice a week with the help of the girls who drove him around in the car. He paid for all the gas, and Anna returned the week before Thanksgiving. She was able to finish the semester with a 3.2, and Jason earned a special place in Anna's heart. They dated mostly throughout the rest of her freshman and sophomore years. Jason broke up with her the summer after his freshman year to date another girl, but realized that he missed Anna. During her third year, they became engaged. Jason graduated at the end of that year and got a teaching position in a big city about 30 miles away. They met a couple of times a month, except for December, when Anna worked her part-time job on weekends. Dating resumed in mid-January, and their wedding took place in mid-summer, after she had graduated. They lived in a 2-room apartment near the school so Jason could walk to work. By the end of the year, they had moved, and Jason was now commuting to and from work. Anya didn't like the city and wanted something more like the suburbs she grew up in. This continued for a year, and Anna became pregnant with their first child, who was born in mid-December. They moved into a townhouse so Jason could walk to school again and save $130 a month in transportation costs. 2.5 years later, the second daughter was born in mid-August. Jason continued to work at the school for another 5 years. At the end of 10th year, he and Anna discussed the situation, and he left at the end of 11th year. Anna has found a full-time job and Jason has not signed a contract for his 12th year of teaching. He stayed at home and tried to learn a new profession, computer programming. It didn't work out very well for him, and he became what is now called a stay-at-home dad. He was able to receive disability benefits from Social Security. They continued to live on. It was during this time that Anna sold Tupperware products and worked as a DJ to earn extra money for the family. Let's return to the present time. A couple of days later, Anna looked at Jason and asked, "Are you feeling okay?" "Yes, just tired, probably didn't sleep well." "What's happened?" "I had a dream and it woke me up. I went back to sleep and the dream came back and woke me up again. I hope it goes away." "Do you want to talk about it? Maybe it will help." "No, I guess. I just hope it goes away." "Okay, but if you need to talk." "Anna, please, let's leave it at that." "Okay. What do you want for breakfast?" "Whatever you like." She chose porridge and they ate in silence. Anna scrolled through her Facebook page while Jason ate in silence, seemingly in a bad mood. Then Anna went to class at the Y and Jason sat down to listen to a book on his iPod. This routine continued for several days, and one Friday morning, Anna found Jason sleeping in the computer room. She woke him up so he could get through overtime before 7 a.m. He stood up, grumbling that he had a bad night. Anna was about to have breakfast with a friend from her exercise class. "Jay, sorry, just put up with overtime and go back to bed. I'll see you later." Jason was unhappy that Anna woke him up at 6:10 instead of 6:55. He sat down and drank a cup of coffee, waiting for time to pass, while Anna was back on Facebook. Jason took out the recycling and grabbed a broom to clear the snow from the road. He had a slight obsession with footprints in the snow. He finished before Anna left, but he couldn't go back to sleep after he got up. Anna left, and he listened to the book for a while, then checked his email. When Anna returned home, she asked, What was your problem last night? That dream again. Okay, so tell me about him. Maybe it will help. I'm afraid that if I tell you, you might not talk to me for a while. You might get mad at me. It's just a dream, and you can't control your dreams. Please tell me. Okay. Do you remember Karen, who you worked with at the pharmacy? Yeah, did you dream about sex with her? She was always flirty and suggested things. She even suggested that we exchange partners with her and her boyfriend. Yeah, you were telling me about it, and she asked what size my pants were, and you told her they were medium. And then Karen convinced you to tell her about your job as a DJ, and you told her that sometimes she played with one a month and sometimes with several. That's how you found out that I was average. You told her that if it was big enough in my pants, and if you were horny or angry with me, you let him have sex with you. You told her that you came home, took a shower while I was putting away your DJ equipment, and told me that the place was hot or that you were just uncomfortable with the whole dance process. Anna sat looking at Jason in surprise. Finally, she asked, "Have you spoken to Karen recently?" "No, I don't even remember her last name. Why?" "Then how did you get this dream?" "I don't know. I've just been overthinking it a lot, and what bothers me is that you told her I was average size when, as far as I know, you weren't supposed to know what size I was compared to others unless you checked a kind of survey or sampling to determine how I look compared to others." Jason continued asking his questions, and the tension between him and Anna grew. "So you never discussed this with Karen?" Jason continued. "No, I never had a long conversation with Karen about you. Why are you so sure it was something more?" Anna asked, getting up from the kitchen table and moving to the side. She didn't speak to Jason for the rest of the day. The next morning, Anna was still silent, and Jason asked, "Have you decided yet?" "What should I decide?" Anna answered with a slight note of irritation. "You decided to tell me the truth about how you found out I was average, because I'm pretty sure I already know how it happened. You'll just confirm what I came to." "And what do you think you know?" Anna lowered her gaze, as if trying to avoid his gaze. "I think you were having fun behind my back when you were Jing. I think you were giving someone a hand, pleasuring someone, or maybe even sleeping with guys back then. The more I think about it, the more it seems logical. Several times you came home and immediately went to the shower while I was putting away your equipment. You were probably just having sex with someone and didn't want me to smell it on you. All you have to do is say, 'Yes, you're right,' or 'No, you're wrong, honey.' But if you say no, you'll have to explain how you knew I was average, Anna. You remember how I told you about the sexy dance at the nurse's party and the lingerie contest at that family party?" Anna tried to explain. "Yes, I remember you telling me about it, but you said you saw their places." "No, not really. But the bulge in that guy's underwear was about the same as yours, and the dancer had bikinis that bulged out much more, to be honest. Anna, you said to yourself that you were constantly horny after Jenny was born, and you started working as a DJ about a year after that. I still can't believe that the two situations you mentioned gave you enough information to talk about being a size average. Either tell me the whole story or not, but I'm telling you what I think, and that's why my mood has been so depressed lately. I just don't know." Anna looked at Jason, took a deep breath, and asked, "Why did you suddenly decide to bring this up now? Why bring this up after all these years, Jay?" "I guess I'm just getting old and looking back. There are some things that still pop into my head. It's not the only question I have, but it's probably the most important one at the moment." "Okay, what other questions do you have?" Anna looked worried, but tried to hide it. "Well, another thing that seems pretty obvious now is the window installation thing in our house. I came home for lunch to see how things were going, and this guy was wearing shorts and sneakers. I didn't think much of it at the time. But now it seems like he was making a point that he might have slept with you, so I have my doubts about that too." "You're just full of surprises and suspicions, aren't you, Jay?" A sharp note appeared in Anna's voice, and Jason realized that he had fallen into a trap, but he didn't care. "Any other questions, Jay?" Yes, but these are the most important ones for now. So you still have questions. How many do you have, Jason? Anna seemed annoyed, but at the same time tried to hide her excitement. I'm not sure, maybe 5 cases that come to mind. But look, we don't have to continue with this. I'm just wondering, and I'm sorry if this makes me feel bad, but once you start thinking about something, you have a hard time letting it go. We can list the times you couldn't let go that caused problems in the past. I know, I'm sorry, Oksana, but isn't it this attention to detail that you like about me? Jason tried to diffuse the situation a little. Anna just huffed and walked away from him, leaving Jason to think that the conversation was over. But he was wrong. The next day, Jason was working in the basement, and Anna came down to him, saying, "Okay, if you want to talk about the past, come upstairs and we'll talk. But, and this is very important, if you don't like what you hear, it will be on you. You can't be mad at me. You have to promise that you won't hold a grudge against me." "Okay, I promise I won't get angry if I don't like something." "That's not enough. I have a little contract that you need to read and sign before we start this conversation about the past. I want you to know that I take this seriously, and I will enforce the terms of the contract." Jason was intrigued and went upstairs to read the contract. Oksana wrote that if he ever swears in anger or shows aggression, for example, punching a wall, then he will have to abstain from any sexual contact for a year. He looked at her and said, "Anna, we haven't had sex for the past 6 months anyway. What are you talking about?" "Jason, if you curse or become even the least bit aggressive, I have a special cage for your private part, and you will wear it for a year. You will not be able to satisfy yourself for a full 365 days after I lock it." Jason looked at Anna with surprise, and she added, "I'm serious as a heart attack. This item is already in the cart on the site. I just need to click the order button. So decide how much you want to hear the answers and how you will react." "So I understand that I won't like what I hear, and you're ready to take revenge if I do something wrong." "Yes, I love you, and we've been together for so many years, and I want to keep it that way, but it's up to you how much you want to know the truth." Jason took the pen and signed his name. He handed over the contract to Anya, saying, "If you threaten me in this way, then if I don't like the answers so much, you won't have time to put this cage on me, I'll just leave." "You'll never leave me, and you know it, Jay." "Well, I was just trying to make it as dramatic as your contract." Oksana smiled and asked, "So where do you want me to start?" "From the guy who installed the windows." Anna took a deep breath. "Okay, that morning I got up at about 6:30 and took a quick shower, then got dressed in a tank top and shorts. I gathered the children and had breakfast when the doorbell rang just after 8. They were sitting at a small table in the kitchen, and I walked to the front door and opened it. The guy stood there and said, 'Hey, I'm here to replace windows with my crew,' and he looked at me like guys do. Come on, you know." He looked me up and down and smiled. I knew what he was thinking. All women know that smile. The children came up and asked, "Who is this, mother?" And I said, "This is the guy who is going to install new windows in the house for us. Go back and finish your breakfast." They went back to the kitchen, and the guy asked, "Where would you like me to start?" while looking at my chest. Then he said, "You have 4 windows on the first floor and 5 on the second. Can I look at the rooms and decide where we should start?" And I let him in, and he walked through the first and second floors, and I followed him. He decided to start at the back of the house, at the second floor windows, after the children had finished eating. He sent the team back, and I told the kids to finish their cereal and sent them to the basement to play with their toys. The guy, Jim, asked me if he could take his shirt off, and I said it was okay. While the team began work in the back bedroom, he removed the radiator caps in other rooms. I followed him everywhere, and he continued to look at me. We bumped into each other a couple of times as we walked from room to room. When we got to the bedroom, he looked at the bed and smiled. "You didn't have a chance to make your bed?" he asked me. I said, "No, kids need attention." He looked at me and asked, "Could you show some attention too?" And he came closer and kissed me. I didn't stop him. I looked at him while he walked. His muscles weren't very big, but he looked very handsome. He picked me up and kissed me again, and I moaned. Within moments, we were both naked and lying in our bed, and within minutes, we were having sex. I went to the bathroom, washed my face, and then went to check on the kids. Jason sat at the table, dumbfounded. He reasoned that Anna might have kissed the guy and let him play with her, but he didn't expect the story he heard. He said, "When did I come home for lunch? I was so worried that you would notice something different that you knew I did. But you played with the children and seemed oblivious to my indiscretions." Jim actually walked around and winked at me a couple of times, and I was annoyed, but he went upstairs to check on the crew. "You went upstairs and brushed your teeth, and I thought you might have looked into our room and noticed that the sheets were really wrinkled, but you came back and left, saying goodbye. To us, I put the kids to bed at 1:30 while the crew replaced the front windows." Jim told them that the children were napping and working as quietly as possible. "He found me in the kitchen, and we headed over. Then he made me bend over a small table with snacks and had sex with me. They did the living room last and left about 10 minutes before you returned. Remember, I took a shower after you came in and said I needed to dust myself off from work, and then I bathed the kids so I could continue the charade. I asked you to vacuum every room while I washed the children. So, Anna, you did more than I expected to hear." My voice was very calm, but I was so excited by this story. "Jay, you seem so calm about this. I'm so surprised. I expected you to practically rant at me. For something more than 30 years ago, no, it's not worth the effort. Did you have another question you wanted to ask me?" "Anna, please give me a moment to think about what you just told me." "Okay, would you like a cup of coffee? I can do this for you, darling." Jason didn't respond to Anna's question as he thought about this revelation. Finally, Jason asked, "Did you ever see him again?" Anna turned away from the counter, looked at Jason and said, "Twice after that day," and then ignored him because she started to feel really bad for cheating on you. "I'm sorry, Jason." "It's okay, Anna. You never left my side and always supported everything I thought we should do." Jason stood up and walked over and grabbed her, which made her feel a little guilty for what she said to him. "Now about Karen and your knowledge that I am a size average. How did you know this?" Oksana took another deep breath and then took another. "I was hoping you forgot about it, but obviously you want an answer." "Yes, it's all in the past and we're still together, and I've never felt anything but love from you. You were and remain the best friend and lover a man could dream of." When Jason looked at her, tears were streaming down her cheeks. "Why are you crying, Anna?" "Not now, Jason. I can't talk about this anymore right now. Maybe later, tomorrow, but not now, please," she said, quickly leaving the room and closing the bedroom door behind her. Jason was sure there were still many things he never expected to hear from Oksana, the woman to whom he had been married for 43 years and 6 months. After her confession about the guy who installed the windows, he sat in the living room and thought about the opportunities he had rejected over the years. When they switched roles, Jason told Anya that he would understand if she decided to take a lover, but he wanted to know about it because for him, honesty was much more important than physical fidelity. Jason had seen his parents divorce because of lies and infidelity, and he didn't want to repeat their fate. He refused the advances of a woman named Katie, whose husband had left for someone else. Katie told Jason that the woman was short and awkward. She admitted that she did not understand why her husband left her, because she wanted sex several times a week. She said that she loved to please him and had sex with him. Jason was helping Katie fix a hole in her family room, ceiling where a flower pot hook had torn out a piece of drywall. Every time Jason came to Katie's house, she talked about sex, and it was very difficult for him to stop himself from dragging her into the bedroom and fucking her. She wanted him to do this to bolster her self-esteem, and Jason understood that. It took him 4 visits to complete the renovation, and each time he kept his desires in check. Every evening after these visits, he passionately had sex with Anna, feeling the need to free himself from pent-up tension. Anna never questioned why this happened, but she seemed to enjoy it. One day, a neighbor named Pam told him, "I'm torn between shopping and romance because Chris is driving me crazy with his business problems." Jason found Pam incredibly attractive, short, about 160 centimeters, with dark wavy hair and a wide smile. That day, she was standing in the kitchen after returning from the terrace, where she had been sunbathing in the smallest bikini that covered her ample breasts. She was clearly a size DD, and while she wasn't skinny, she wasn't overweight. She had the body Jason could only dream of. He often fantasized about taking her to bed, but her husband was a good friend, and he couldn't do that. He said, "Pam, shopping will create financial problems if Chris is having problems with his business, and an affair could ruin your marriage. Do you really want this? Talk to him. Tell him how you feel. Maybe you can find a solution." Then he went home and satisfied himself. Now he's a little sorry he didn't take advantage of one of those opportunities. Maybe. Anna came out into the living room a couple of hours later, her eyes red and puffy. She sat down on the couch and asked, "Jay, do you want to continue now or tomorrow?" Her voice was hoarse and seemed very even, without its usual cheerfulness. "Anna, this is entirely up to you. If you feel like you can continue your story now, fine. If you need to gain strength to continue, we can wait. But at some point, I will need to hear everything, because not knowing is leading me to places I don't want to go." Oksana took a few deep breaths. "Okay, then let's continue. I don't know what it was about Karen, but she managed to get everything out of me about my life, and about you. She should have become a therapist because she made me tell her everything. Remember when I started learning to DJ, the guy I used to do the late-night double shows with?" Jason nodded, and she continued, "We had 3 hours from the end of the afternoon event to the start of the evening. We turned around in 15 minutes, and the next place was only 12 kilometers away. This gave us several hours of free time. I was driving with him because I left the car at the office because he was driving home past. I noticed that he was excited. He couldn't hide it after the end of the show and in the car, and I was excited. I touched him and asked him if he wanted to relieve the tension we were both feeling. We stopped in a park and found a quiet place. It was already dark because it was November. I moved my seat back as far as I could, and he pulled his pants down and was between my legs. When we arrived at the place, I went to the women's room and got myself better cleaned up there. We set up the equipment, did the show, then put everything back together, and he drove me to my car. He wanted to have sex with me again, but I didn't want to. I told you how excited I was, but you didn't seem to notice. I wasn't pretending, but I thought about him when we had sex. Remember that family party with the lingerie contest? After the party, I met up with that guy. I didn't take overtime like I told you. I let him have sex with me. Then on Wednesdays at the bar. Work ended not at 23:30 as I said, but at 23 o'clock. After the second time, I had a regular friend for the remaining half hour, a guy who was at the bar every time I worked there. That's why I was never excited when I got home, because I was almost always already satisfied with Duncan. It's all about the DJ, all. At almost every party I was approached, but many times I refused in order to return to you. But there were moments when things weren't going smoothly for you and me, you know. One of us was having a bad day, you at school or me with the kids. I'm sorry." Jason sat there processing what he heard, and after a minute Anna asked, "Jay, what are you thinking?" "I had no idea at all, Anna, that something was happening. With you. Between teaching and the kids, I thought that we were fine, Anna walked up to him sitting in the chair and knelt in front of him. "Jay, everything was really fine. I was happy with my life, except for your periodic breakdowns, everything was fine." "Then why were you doing this?" "Because there were opportunities, and after Jenny was born, I was always horny. This wouldn't have happened if men hadn't offered it right then and there, and I wanted to say yes so often. I held back many times, but not always. I never stopped loving you, the children, and our life. I just loved the opportunity to try different men, like a box of assorted dishes." Anna saw the doubt in Jay's eyes and said, "Like you said, I never left you because I love you." So it stopped after we moved and you weren't Jing anymore? Anna looked straight into Jason's eyes and realized that she had to tell him everything, because he would not rest until he knew the whole truth. She saw anticipation in his eyes, but also something else. It wasn't pain, fear, or doubt. Her husband looked determined. "Come on, lay it all out." That's what his face said. She had seen this expression before. "Do you remember how I told you how I had a dream about a couple playing with me? Then I was already managing a pharmacy." "Yes, I told you it's your decision." "It wasn't just a dream. It was Karen and her boyfriend Evan. Remember how I once said that I went to dinner with my colleagues from the pharmacy? It didn't last 3.5 hours. I've been at Karen's apartment for the last 2 hours, the three of us doing this. Evan had a big one. Karen said he was 23 cm, and to be honest, I missed being that size after being a DJ, so I took her up on her offer. So Karen wouldn't be happy with my average size, right? Oh, Karen wanted you, but I was afraid to tell you. I was afraid that you would reveal what I did in the past, and it would ruin everything." "How many times, Anna? How many times are Karen and Evan? Just once?" "No, how many times have you been with other men, or rather, how many men have there been since we started living together?" "I never counted, Jay. I wasn't interested in keeping track of my infidelities. It was always spontaneous. Except for that thing with the guy from the bar on Wednesdays. It was the same person, right?" "Yes, I was." "So it wasn't just a chance meeting, but a whole romance. Like with Jim, the guy who installed the windows." "Jay, please don't look at it like that. I wasn't. I wasn't in love with any of them. It was just sex with them, and that gave me the strength to cope with you." Jay sat looking at Anna for several minutes, very quiet, and Anna saw several changing expressions on his face. First, she saw anger, then pain, confusion, and then his face became completely blank, as if he felt nothing. She had seen that expression when he received the news of his father's death. There was no reaction. Just like now, he didn't seem angry or offended, just nothing. Then he raised his eyes to her face, and she saw sadness in them. "So I brought you to this? Are you saying it's my fault? It was a byproduct of our relationship at the time, Jay. Your teaching job was draining you emotionally and killing our relationship at the same time. That's why I told you back then that I never wanted you to go back to class again. You changed after you quit teaching. It sounds like you've stopped doing it. But you say that you were with Karen and her boyfriend after I left my job and took care of the house and children." "I know. And it was because Karen somehow knew how to get information out of even a stone, and she and Evan slowly screwed me over until I snapped and gave them what they wanted just this one time." "Are you sure it was just one time? Because at that Christmas party, when I dozed off, and you were dancing with some guy, and the other man tried to stop me from talking to you. What happened there, Anna?" "Oh, Trevor. He's been flirting with me for a year at all our meetings. He waved me to the dance floor when you dozed off. There was no point, really." "Didn't it turn into something more? Later?" "No, I tried to stay away from him as much as possible after that. Karen said you looked like you were about to start a fight when you came up behind me, and I didn't want to push my luck, and I especially didn't want you to get hurt. I need to digest all this new information, Anna. I'm not sure how I feel about all of this." Anna walked up to him and knelt at his feet. "Jay, I love you, and I never even thought about leaving you for someone else. It was always just sex with other men. None of them, including Jim and the guy from the bar, could compare to you, but I needed an outlet from the stress you were causing. I'm sorry it's hurting you now, but honestly, it's been a long time since there's been anyone else besides you." Jason looked intently into Oksana's eyes. Her dark brown eyes sparkled, and he sighed. "How long has it been just me, Anna?" "What? How long have I been the only one, compared to your stress relievers with others? Why do you need to know this? Our relationship has become stronger, and I no longer feel tension. Isn't that enough? It was 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, last year, or a month ago, Anna. When did you stop needing stress relievers? Does it matter when I stop? Did you stop or still need that stress reliever now, yesterday or last week? When did it end? Jason, please, let's finish this. It doesn't matter when it ended. The main thing is that it ended, and I don't need that stress reliever anymore because you've become so relaxed. Well, until now. So what you're saying is that you're going to have to get that stress reliever again because we're in a pretty tense situation right now. Do you need to distress now, Anna? No, it's not that intense, Jay. Please, can we just go to bed and cuddle and relax? Please, darling. Jason sighed. So you want to avoid answering the question of the last time you needed to distress without me, right? Anna was silent for a while, then stood up and asked, "Are you coming to bed with me, darling?" Jay didn't answer, but thought, "I better go, otherwise you'll go looking for a stress reliever tomorrow." He got up and went to the bedroom to undress. Anna knew that Jay would not leave this issue because by nature he could not back down from what interested him. He will begin to review all the details that he remembered over the past 20 years, and new questions will arise. Anna was afraid that this could lead to the end of their marriage because she knew Jay wouldn't be happy with the answers if he decided to dig deeper. She had a sense of impending disaster for their marriage, her self-esteem and Jay's self-esteem. She felt that the whole truth could destroy Jay if she decided to tell him everything. Anna didn't sleep well that night. Jay woke up earlier, as usual. When Anna got up at 7:12 and went to the bathroom, he was no longer in the bedroom. He always got up around 5:30 and went into the living room to watch the news and weather forecast. Anna didn't sleep well either. His tossing and turning woke her up a couple of times during the night. When Anna left the bedroom and headed to the kitchen, she was surprised to see Jay sitting at the table, looking into his cup of coffee. "Good morning, dear." "Good morning, Anna." Anna knew immediately that something was wrong. "Oh no," she thought. "When he starts with my name instead of sweetheart or baby, it's always a bad sign. He's probably been analyzing our lives all night and is now ready to ask questions again." "So, Jay, what are our plans for today? Any ideas?" "No, Anna, I wasn't thinking about plans for the day." "I guess I didn't think so. You've been thinking about our past and what can be questioned in our lives, right?" Jay looked at her in surprise for a moment, and then his face returned to neutral, almost like a frown. People could never quite read his facial expressions. He never looked happy unless he was happy about something. More often than not, he had a face that looked like he was a little annoyed with life, but he wasn't. His face simply had an expression that was popularly called disgruntled face in the 2010s. "I didn't sleep well, Anna. My mind kept coming back to all this." "I didn't sleep well either, Jay. I hurt you a lot, and I'm really sorry, but I had to deal with the stress somehow, and it was better than drinking or trying illegal drugs." "Are you saying that you are addicted to sex?" "No, what I'm saying is that I used sex to relieve stress when I needed relief. But lately everything has been good, and I haven't needed to relieve tension for a long time. Can we put this behind us and try to move on with our lives together, please?" Jay looked closely into Anna's eyes and finally asked, "So you haven't relieved your tension in a long time?" "No, Jay, I didn't take it off. And when I feel stressed, I come to you for support. You make me feel so loved and complete. I don't know what I should do." "Anna, please wait." "What, Jay? I don't know what I would do if I lost you. If you left me, I don't know if I could live without you." Jay opened his arms and Anna snuggled into his chest. "Okay, Anna, I won't ask any more questions. I'll take your word for it, but you need to know that if you ever need relief, I will be the one to give it to you. If I ever suspect something, we will end this conversation and I will seek the whole truth." "Thank you, Jay. I love you so much, and I'm so sorry for causing you so much pain. We can get through this together, darling." Anna felt great relief from these words, but she knew it wasn't the end, because Jay would continue to think and eventually demand to know about the other men. The 9 she'd slept with over the past 8 years since they'd moved to be closer to their daughter until she retired. She didn't admit it and wasn't sure how Jay didn't realize that she knew the exact number of men. She had a list hidden at the bottom of her jewelry box. Anna discovered that the bottom was removable and wrote down all the names and dates there. There were 27 names on this list, and almost every name reminded her of the wonderful moments she had spent with them. Several names had 2 dates separated by a dash, which meant an ongoing interaction, since Oksana did not consider this to be a real relationship. If Jay finds this list, he might see these interactions differently, of course. But now she no longer wanted other people's men. Jason fully satisfied her when the need arose, but the memories were very pleasant. Anna wondered if she should destroy the list to avoid even the slightest chance of Jay finding it. But she couldn't bring herself to get rid of her memories. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one. Click to the next one. Click to the next